Smooth 981. That's the channel. So you can drop a comment and catch that live stream. All right. So this morning, going on to the topic this morning for Business Express, we're talking about practical applications of blockchain technology here in Nigeria. Our special guest is Aderemi Lanre. He's a registered blockchain professional and certified blockchain expert. He's the founder and chief vision officer at Accendis. Good morning, Larry, and welcome to Business Express.
Hi, good morning, Zibby. Nice to meet you. It feels good to be here.
I see you're bright and fired up and ready to go. That's the spirit for a Friday. You probably have a lot to look forward to this weekend, don't you?
Oh yeah, of course. I have a lot
I
to do.
could tell. All right. So it's a Tech Friday. So of course we're talking about everything relating to tech. Let's talk about blockchain technology, something we've spoken about a bit here on Business Express, but let's have a bit of a crash course as a reminder. So Lanre, tell us about what blockchain technology actually really is.
Okay, thank you very much for having me, first of all. Okay, so blockchain technology has several definitions if you go online, and I think it used to confuse me a whole lot when I initially started my journey, because once you search for the meaning online, it's like lots of plenty English. Yeah, but over time, I've been able to simplify it to just what it simply is. It's a record-keeping system, right, that cannot be altered or destroyed, and it's also duplicated across different servers. So more like you have an attendance at the office, for example. This is just an example, a classroom attendance, and everybody signs their name on it, and they pick that particular classroom attendance, photocopy it, and spread it across the entire school. So nobody, even if you destroy one copy of it, there exist multiple copies across different other people's in different people's possession. So that's practically what blockchain is. But the reason why it's called a blockchain is in each block, there's a particular number of transactions that can be recorded. So let's say the school has 100 pupils, but a notebook can only take a page of the notebook can only take 20 pupils' names. So after the 20 is filled, it is pushed up, and then the next sheet that is coming is locked to the bottom of the previous sheet. So it goes like that in a chronological order, like like forever normally. Yeah, yeah. So that's why
Wow.
for the blockchain. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know why, as you're trying to, use this example, contracts popped into my head. I'm going
Yeah.
to save that for later. But what are the practical applications of blockchain, particularly for the unique Nigerian situation here?
Okay, there are several ways that blockchain technology can be used in Nigeria. So I'll use a practical example of myself. I went to Uniport. I studied finance and banking. Yeah, and there was a time I had a tooth problem, and I had to visit the university teaching hospital, University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. And I remember that time I got a record. You have to do the registration and the whole thing, and I got my card and I did my tooth, whatever I was attended to. And then, like a year or 2 years later, I had another tooth problem. And I remembered when I went there, it was a very big hassle, right? Finding my record. In fact, at that
Mm.
point in time, I spent almost the whole day trying to get my record. And at the end of the day, I think I'm not very certain I had to re-register, right? Now, if blockchain technology was used in that case to keep my record, first of all, the fact that it's a technological solution, it's online, which means they would have simply just searched for my name and that record will pop up. And now, because that record is not based in just one server, it means even if the computer server at University of Port Harcourt crashes, that data is still safe. Now, this
Mm.
is just an example of how it can be used in the health sector, right? And then it can also be used to get us digital IDs. I know that one of the things that the government is trying to push is, you have to use your NIN for everything. And you have lots of people having issues, with NIN and other IDs. With the blockchain technology, it's simple. And now you can now connect that ID to different other utilities that the blockchain provides. So, for example, I had just let's say I have my digital ID. Health would not be an issue. finances will
Mm.
not be an issue because then they can link everything to that particular ID that sits on the blockchain. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. So that's
Yeah,
like
it
practical
does.
use cases that we could use. It could also be used in the elections. It could be used in music. It could be used for so many other things. Yeah.
Mm. What about when it comes to conflict resolution? Perhaps a contract that two people have signed and one party tries to back out. Is there a place for blockchain in this?
Oh yeah, there's what we call smart contracts on the blockchain,
Mm,
right? So what smart contract does is it takes a regular contract that exists offline and then it
mm,
brings it into the blockchain. Basically, that's what it does. So it's like the smart contract does not execute until some certain criteria have been met. And because these things are digital rules that have been set, they must be met before that contract is executed. For example, let's say you want to sell me a piece of land. Let's just use this as an example. And you've already put the land document on the blockchain, and the smart contract has been written that when I pay you certain amount of money, in this case, cryptocurrencies, because they exist on the blockchain, this
mm,
contract automatically transfers to me, right? Let's say I'm supposed to pay you 20 Bitcoin for that piece of land. This is just an example, right? And I pay you 19. That contract would not be executed because the value I'm supposed to pay has not been met yet. So it holds both parties responsible, right? Because the rules have already been set. It cannot it cannot be truncated. It cannot be rewritten. It's automatic. So yeah, I
mm.
think that settles the case for contracts.
Awesome, awesome. Now let's talk about energy requirements for blockchain. I mean, we have power issues here in Nigeria. Could this be a hurdle?
Okay, so yes and no, right? Because there are different types of blockchain. There's the open blockchain that is public, right? And then there are consortium blockchains, right? So consortium blockchains are the ones that big organizations can come together and create, and it will serve their purpose, right? As an organization. So for the public blockchain, energy consumption is not a problem because it is not limited to just Nigeria, right? So those
Mm,
digital records can be stored in what we call nodes. They can be scattered all across Africa, all across the world. So a node doesn't necessarily need to be in Nigeria for it to operate. What that simply means is the ledgers can be stored anywhere in the world. All you need is just your internet and a smart device for you to connect and access it. So no, right? And then yes, because if you're building a consortium blockchain and it runs on, let's say, proof of work, it means energy has to be put in. But if it runs on something they call proof of stake, then there's no need for energies to be put in. I'm
mm.
going into the intricacies now, so let me track back out a bit. Yeah.
All right. Well, let us know your thoughts if you've got a question or a comment. 0809 4440981. That is the WhatsApp number. Send your messages to. I see we've got one here. Tayo says, I think SEC stepping regulation on crypto space is a welcome development, particularly mandating a registered address in Nigeria, but transparency is a vital component for crypto transactions. Um, Earlier you did speak a little bit about how I beg your pardon, how blockchain can actually be used for elections as well. Can you talk about the benefits?
Okay. I had already stated that digital IDs are one of the benefits of using blockchain technologies. Now, for example, let's say everything in terms of, how when it comes to elections, we have to go and get our voters card, for
Mm,
everybody who wants to vote, right? And they has to be accredited and all of that. Now, imagine if you had a digital ID, it wouldn't be difficult to get a voter's card, right? Because it's already linked to your digital ID on the blockchain, right? And then you can place your vote on the blockchain technology, using blockchain technology rather, if the voting system is built with that technology. And they can, like, I initially also stated that the records cannot be rewritten or truncated. which means if you vote for a particular candidate, nobody can go on the back end and change that vote. It's not possible because immediately that record is added to the ledger, it cannot be edited, and it is distributed across a couple of people, like several thousands of nodes at this in this particular case. So, I mean, that would give a very credible election, a stress-free election instead of going to
Mm,
stand on the queue and doing all of that. And even if it comes to that, provided that when you're thumbprinting, it is being registered directly on the blockchain, it changes the entire system. So yeah, I mean,
mm.
if we get to a day in the country where we use blockchain technology for election, then it's a day I would really, really love to see.
Now, speaking about the use of tech, I mean, AI is something that seems to have dominated the conversation around tech, right? We've spoken about it a lot on Business Express, particularly on the Tech Fridays. Is there any way that blockchain and AI can actually, interact, hold hands, and work together?
Mm, yeah, I mean, yes. What blockchain does is to keep records of things. How AI works is to take data, already existing data, and use it as a predictive case to predict what the future would be like and to do things, basically, right?
Mm,
So AI's algorithm learns from already existing data. So imagine if all the data in the world are on blockchain, it would mean number one, there would be less duplicity, less fake information, which means AI would have credible data to work with, right? So, I mean, they can work hand in hand. I mean, blockchain can also provide a very, very good foundation for AI to thrive.
all right. In about 30 seconds, I want to talk about job opportunities because at this point, it's something that we obviously should be speaking about. What job opportunities exist from blockchain? Are these jobs, if they exist, are they possible here in Nigeria, or is it only across the world in other countries?
Okay. So first of all, I am a testimony of blockchain technology, right?
Mm,
Uh, then I think there are so many job opportunities available in blockchain technology. Um, First and the most foremost is the blockchain engineer. That goes beyond the normal software, front end, back end development. When you get to that point, you start writing a smart contract languages. We have the likes of Solidity, we have Rust, we have so many other languages that blockchain engineers use to code. And then there are people who build the blockchain itself, right? That's advanced, like that's way, way advanced. And then there are other smaller roles. In blockchain, like I said, there are several things that can exist on the blockchain. So, for example, if you're delving into the likes of cryptocurrencies, you have the likes of community managers, you have product designers that can work on interfaces because nobody would interact with the blockchain directly. They still need to interact with an
mm,
interface. So a product designer has to be in the play. A
mm.
front end developer has to be in the play. A back end developer has to be in the play. So there are so many jobs that are still interconnected with blockchain technology. So yes, it's a very big, big space that has lots of opportunities.
All right, I've got a message coming through. This is from Ahmed, and Ahmed says, thanks to the guest for breaking down what blockchain is all about. Yes, indeed. Larry took us back to school. Blockchain 101. All right, well, that is all the time that we have for Business Express this morning. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your messages. And of course, special thanks to our guest, Lanre Aderemi. Thank you, Lanre, for being with
All right.
us.
Thank you. Thank you. It was good to be here.
That was Lanre Aderemi, registered blockchain professional and certified blockchain expert, founder and chief vision officer at Accendis. That's it for Business Express, but do stay with us. There is a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast. Thanks, Lanre.